Hamadakiapi, Melissa Hotayamakiapi, counselor for Sioux Valley Dakota Nation, or Wipazoka Wakba, as the name goes in our traditional understandings and in our Dakota language. So today is March 8th, International Women's Day, and it's an opportunity to have reflection and discussion about the importance of women in our communities and worldwide. And so the theme of this year is really about inclusion. It's about raising awareness about discrimination, and it's about celebrating women's achievement. And so thinking about women in our communities, I think of all our women of all ages, whether it's from our kushis, our aunties, our inas, our sisters, our daughters and our grandchildren, our granddaughters. You know, it's about all of us, and it's about kinship. And so when I think of inclusion, that's what I think of. That first thing that comes to mind is kinship and the interconnection we have with all our Dakota, Lakota, Nakota women. And when I think of that in that context, kinship was so important to our way of life because we were interconnected, we were related to everyone. And how we addressed, and what the foundation of all of that was really about our inherent laws and our values around respect and how we acknowledged one another. And, you know, growing up, that's what you heard and seen. It wasn't so much we were utilizing the English language or our names and how we addressed one another. It was really about our relations, whether it was my kushis or unkas or mamanas. Kinship is really about, it's within our connections of our families, our tioshpaes, within our tiwahe, our families. And all of that is so important into our value system and our governance structures. So when I think about, you know, the inclusion piece as well, and raising awareness about discrimination, it's really more about ensuring that we don't forget people, that we remember who all our relatives are, or helping those that are in need or those that are struggling and reaching out a hand. It's being mindful to remind, to visit. You know, traditionally we visited with our families, but we're in a time and era now where COVID changed a lot of that, and we have to find ways to instill or bring back those ways of connection to our people. So I think about that as well. And when I think about celebrating women's achievement, it's really about, again, making time and place to, you know, talk amongst each other as women. And so one of the things that we, you know, been talking about is for this spring to have a gathering of the women from all generations, including the young, including, you know, the middle age, and including our kushis, to come together to have, you know, discussions on the importance of what are those key things we need to think about going forward as a Dakota community that needs to be protected, that needs to be honored, that needs to be preserved. And one of the things that jumps to mind is, you know, historically we had, you know, honoring of our young women through the womanhood ceremony, Ishnati. You know, how do we bring that back together as a community? We know it's being done in certain families, but again, bringing that knowledge across all so that we can honor and really lift up and encourage and support our young women who are going through that important time in their life. So it's having important discussions about that. It's also about, again, having knowledge translation, because with that comes all the teachings, and keeping those teachings alive, those stories, our oral history. It's also important. And so those are some of the things I think about that, you know, as a community we can do together. And it's really about, again, preservation and uplifting of our Dakota ways through the various types of opportunities of supporting our women and holding them up in a good way. And so one final thing I think about, again, when I think about the young women in our community, it's about the protection of them. We know there's a lot of, you know, things that are happening, you know, in this world where you have to, you know, with MMIWG, and there's, you know, a report, calls to action that go to government, but also to the First Nation level, to our level, on what are the things that we can do to support our young women, to protect them, and really paving a path for them to live a good life. And so those are some things that we'll be visiting, revisiting in our community, to have those discussions on how we can implement those here in our community. So International Women's Day is not just every day. To me, it's every day. But I appreciate that there's an opportunity to withhold that, to have that space and have those discussions on this day. And so thank you for the opportunity to share some thoughts on what that means to me. Thank you. Padamiaya.
Good day. Today is International Women's Day, and I would like to take this time to acknowledge the women in our community who are our kushis, our mothers, our aunts, our sisters, our nieces, and our daughters. It is all the women in our community who strengthen our Tioshbe through the acknowledgement and retention of our language and our cultures and our traditions. I would just like to say thank you to all our women, our life givers in our community.
Good afternoon. My name is Catherine Whitecloud. I'm the Director of Education, and today I'm here to share my thoughts about International Women's Day and also the theme of inspiring inclusion for our women, for our girls, for all the females in our families and in our oyate. Our role in educating our young people, our children, right from when they start school and as long as they're in our care, because as educators, we're the parents once the kids get on the school bus and until they arrive home. So as parents, teachers, educators, we have a role and a responsibility to teach our children about what our roles as Dakota women, what our role is and how important it is. We are the ones who inspire our families, we care for our families, we guide them and we teach them, and it never ends. It starts from when we're a child and we learn from our kunshis, our grandmothers, our mamanas, our aunties, and from our parents, our fathers and our grandfathers and uncles about what our role is, about the respect that we have for our brothers and the male members of our families, and it also, the teachings provided us with what it is that we are to do as women in our culture, our responsibility for our family, our responsibilities for our younger children, and the decisions that we make for the well-being of our family. That is our role as women. And through the adoption of a colonial mindset, that role has been diminished. And so this is an opportune time as the International Women's Day to bring those ways of our people, our women, back to the forefront, not only to just talk about it, but also to actually live it and to implement it and to teach our young ones about what it means to be female, but also our young boys, what their role as young men is in their family and in the community. We all have roles, we all have responsibilities. And when one of us doesn't fulfill our role or carry responsibility, then it falls on somebody else to carry that for you. And until we reach a point where we all understand our roles and our responsibilities, we will continue to hold each other back. And so that's really important, and that's what we're teaching our children about what their role is and how important they individually are to the family, but also to the fabric of our oyate, so that we can all walk forward together in a positive, inclusive, respectful way that makes everybody in the community and in the family healthy and well, and with a positive mindset about their role and the importance of who they are as young females or as young males. The most important lesson I learned from my kumshi, my father's mother, whom I lived with and the foundation of who I am came from her, was to respect my brothers, to care for them, and to respect my father and my uncles. And I didn't have grandfathers, they were gone before I was born, but I learned about what my role was as a female within my family, being the second eldest girl, to care for my siblings, my younger siblings, but also always to support my brothers and to respect them, to listen to what they had to offer, but also to advise them about what was good for the children and for the home and the family. And the boys, their role was to provide for us, to protect us, and to ensure that we had what we needed to be able to support and raise our family in a good, healthy way. Those are the things I learned from my kunshi, and to this day, I respect my brothers. I will never ever disrespect them, and we all come together when it comes to family matters that we need to discuss and to address. And we do it in a respectful and loving way because that's what we're supposed to do. That's how we were raised. And I've taught my children that we only have, in the end, we only have family. And it's important for us to support each other and to uplift each other because that starts in the home. And that's the really, really important role of kunshis, grandmothers and aunties and grandfathers, uncles, to teach the young people. Because when they receive that at home, it goes outside of the family and they learn to support and uplift each other so that we can all be strong together. Traditionally, it's always been the women who are responsible for doing the preparation for special events or preparation even for family to come together, to have that informal visit, to sit together, to talk about things, to recall the things from the past that we learned so that we can share it with the future. I spoke about it with the 4th graders today, about how I learned from my kunshi when I would walk with her to sit with aunties and kunshis from other families on the weekends, on Sundays usually, and I would sit under the table and I would listen and I would learn. And our learning style is to listen and to observe and to learn. And we need to include that in how we teach our children and education system that we have, and to bring that way back, because it provides for a foundation that our children need that will carry them for a lifetime. And the importance of our role as females for our children, we see it in the school every day. My door is open. Children, young people come in, good morning, kunshi, how are you? Ampetu washte, hug, and then off to the classroom they go. They need to know that they are loved. They need to know that we care about them, and they need to know that they are important and beautiful, and that's our role to inspire them through that process. It's vitally important that we celebrate our women, because the way we understand it as Dakota and Dakota people is that without our women, we're nothing. We are the life givers. We are the ones who mold and shape our children, and even the boys, until it's time to turn them over to the men when they reach that age of going out and learning what the men need to teach them. But it's the women who teach them all of the foundational aspects of what their life is going to be about and what's going to carry them in their lifetime, that develops their sense of who they are, but as well as their role and how important they are. And that is vitally missing right now, and we need to bring it back, and we are. And women need to be celebrated, because too often we forget that without them we wouldn't have families, and without them we wouldn't have the wonderful aspiring leaders and gifted young people that we now have. We need to celebrate that and what they've done to support and strengthen the fabric of who we are as a people, and strengthen the fabric of our oyate. My final thoughts on International Women's Day is I've spoken about the context from our cultural perspective, but the really important thing is also that we live in a world where we have to learn how to function outside of our reservation boundaries. We live in a world where we can share those foundational aspects that I spoke about, how important they are, to also have people outside of our culture understand that the answers in how we get along, the answers in inclusivity, and the answers in getting along so that everything can be good for our children, it really lies in simplicity. We don't have to make it difficult. All it is respect and love and recognize the gifts that we all carry, and that's what we as women bring to our children.
Hi, good morning. I am Tony Pache with Sioux Valley Dakota Nation. I am the Healing Center Coordinator, and today is International Women's Day. So I've come to talk about Dakota inclusion with Indigenous women. And one thing I love about our Dakota culture and customs is our kinship model. So one of the beautiful pieces is that within our family structures, that when a woman has a child, her siblings become that child's almost like a bonus mom. So all of her sisters are taken as moms, which means that you not only get to love and learn from your own mother, but also in modern culture, what are your aunts are also taking that role as your mother. And so more teachings come, more love, more care, more support wrap around you throughout your life. Their children also then in our kinship model become your siblings. And so again, there's more love, more inclusion, more life experience that you get to have with more people. And also within that way, your grandmother, your kunshe, her sisters are mothers to your mother. And so again, that's more love, more teachings, more comfort, more care that you get to experience everywhere you go. And so as Indigenous women, our circles of strength have a lot larger bonds and potential to be very vast everywhere we go. So, and not only that, but we also have like our hunka ways, which is like an adoption process. And so at no point are our Dakota children ever truly alone, because someone is always there to love and care for them. So I just think that that's one of the most beautiful pieces of our culture that just shows that inclusion that we strive to continue within our cultural bonds. And one of the questions I was asked was a Dakota woman that inspires me. And there's so many that I have, but one that I really have come to grow, love, and appreciate is Faith Spotted Eagle. I met Faith, oh my goodness, so many years ago at a women's conference, and she is one of the founders for the Brave Heart Society out of Lake Andy, South Dakota. She is a member of the Yankton Sioux tribe, and she is just inspiring in so many realms. She's a knowledge keeper, but her devotion to inclusion for Indigenous women is just so heartfelt everywhere she goes. She has a vast knowledge of culture, tradition, and just like an eco-warrior through and through, because she knows that it's only through taking care of our earth that we provide the best we can for our future generations. So as someone who needed time and space to learn culture, she is an amazing advocate of inclusion to take me under her wing and provide that loving teachings. Anytime that I go, I'm always welcome. I am always invited in. I'm always given tea, coffee, and teachings. So I think she is probably one of the best people that I know, one of the best Indigenous women when it comes to inclusion. She is amazing. So there are so many great pieces of being involved with culture and custom, but as International Women's Day, we need to recognize that no matter what culture you belong to, no matter what customs you follow, we all come from a woman. We all come from someone who loved and nurtured us enough to carry us into this life, into this being. And to be able to celebrate that and honor that love and that support is a great piece. So I hope everyone has a great International Women's Day. I hope that we all can take some time to love and appreciate the women in our life and all of the effort and time that they put into loving and providing everything that they can for us. And let's all give back to them and continue that honor of loving and supporting our next generations as well. Thank you. Have a great day.
Hi, my name is Helena Mazwasichina.
I'm Cheyenne Knoll.
I'm Marcia Hote.
I'm Sylvia Tatchin.
And we are First Nation Safety Officers.
And today is Happy International Women's Day.
We deal with a lot of life and death situations. We also protect the community as well and do wellness checks on the community members.
A woman who inspires me is my mom, this lady right here. She inspires me to be independent for myself.
I encourage women, young women, to come and join our team and help us protect our community.
And from all of us to you, Happy
International Women's Day.
My name is Zahara Tachin. I work at the Sioux Valley Gaming Center as a female security guard. I do encourage all women to come and join our team. You do meet a lot of new faces and a lot of new people, and we do have a lot of laughs as well. So I want to say Happy International Women's Day.